Hello, and today I'm going to be showing you how to juice your maps in PoE 2. It's very simple. I'm going to be going over how to juice your maps, how to further juice your maps, an optional way to juice your map, and how to juice towers and what to look for on your atlas. Let's get right into it. As you can see on screen, this is what is needed for both methods of the first step and what is needed for the second step. Let's get right into method 1. Okay, so now we're in game. You can see we have the currencies for method 1. We have a lot of maps to juice. Now these are normal T15s because with method 2 you can only use normal T15s, but for now we'll just use method 1 can be used for any waystone that you find or pick up. We don't need transmutations. So what I like to do is I like to check for orb of augmentations. I then click them. Alright, we go through all of these, and then I like to regal orb them. These orbs are really cheap, so don't worry about using regal orbs and augmentations. I then like to check for any bad modifiers. The best way to do this, especially if you have a lot of maps, is to use the highlight items tab below. The first thing I like to check for is temporal chains. To check for temporal chains, all you need to write is TEMP, and as you can see, both of these have temporal chains. I then take these out, keep them to the side. So after checking for temporal chains, I then like to check for ignited ground. No ignited ground, as you can see, none were highlighted. The third thing I like to check, and specifically for my build, again you have to check for any modifier specifically for your build that will brick your build. You don't want that, otherwise you won't be able to run the map properly. So the third modifier I like to check for is energy shield. So this one just adds energy shield to monsters, that's fine. There is a modifier that reduces my energy shield recharge rate when it gets doubled or tripled when I enter the map. I have no recharge rate and then I can just die. So after checking for those three, I then like to exalt slam them. A good tip that I'm going to show you is to check how much revives a map has specifically. By doing this, insert code BLE ... and 3. This ensures that the maps and the waystones that are highlighted have 3 revives. Now you put them in quotation marks to make sure it is highlighted, because if you have no quotation marks they won't show up. Right, put them in quotation marks, and the specific ones with 3 revives highlight. So with these I like to exalt slam them twice. I like to keep 1 revive, because each time you exalt slam a waystone, it removes a revive available. So as you can see here, the revives available are 1. I like to keep 1 because sometimes randomly in your map you do end up just randomly getting one-shotted. It hasn't happened to me in a very long time, but it does happen, so I like to keep that extra revive. And if you can run the 0 revives and you're confident and you're able to, go for it, but I just personally like 1 revive. Exalt slam these twice, the highlighted ones, and then after doing this I then change the number 3 to the number 2. This shows any of the maps with 2 revives available. You just need to exalt slam them once if you're keeping the 1 revive. Now all of them should be highlighted with 1 revive. Sometimes you'll get random maps with 0 revives. Check the modifiers on these and then you can keep them for towers specifically. I'll go over this in a moment when I'm talking about the atlas, but all of them should be on 1 revive. After doing this, you want to check for the bad modifiers again. No temporal chains, no ignited ground. This one had ignite, that's why I write ignited and not ignite. And then energy shield. No. So all of them are good. Now what I like to do is to check for any good modifiers. There are 2 specific modifiers I look for. One is quantity of items and rarity of items, and then the second one is just rarity of items. There is a third one I like to check for as well. It is number of rare monsters. This increases the number of rare monsters in your map. The main strategy with this specific juicing strategy is just to add more rares to the map, because the more rares that are in your map, the rare monsters drop the best loot, and you're more than likely to get the best loot from your rare monster. This juicing strategy does increase the number of rare monsters specifically, and you'll see why after these methods. The first thing I like to check for is rarity of items, on specifically highlighted, because you do 2 birds with 1 stone with just this specific quote, because any waystone with rarity of items can have the quantity of items. I don't need the right quantity of items. This will show both quant rare and rarity of items modifiers, which is really good. So then I just grab these specific ones, and then I check for any rare monster waystones. Rare monsters. Certain maps have gold, and by the way, having gold increased on your waystones. Oh yeah, so 141% of gold found in this area. You can see this actually decreases the amount of currency and items that drop from monsters. So if you don't find gold valuable, I wouldn't recommend running this, even though it does have a good quantity and rarity modifier on this. I like to keep my gold waystones in here because I do run them when I need gold. But again, gold reduces the amount of items and currency in your maps. You do not want these on your precursor tablets, and you do not want these on your waystones if you're just specifically looking for currency. So now we have the good waystones, right? So I like to generally look for ones with a high amount of rarity and high amount of quant rarity. This is a very low tiered quant rarity one. It's tier 3. I like to look for tier 1s. I sort them out from mid to really good. Let me see if I can find a quant one. So the only quant ones I keep, you can see here, this is tier 2. I like to keep tier 2s and above. I don't like any of the other ones. This is tier 2 as well. This is a double rarity modifier. So I like to look for high percentages because I have a lot of tier 15 maps. If you don't have a lot of tier 15s, you don't need to worry about this. I just specifically like looking for this. So you can put the currencies back. So these would be considered mid maps for me. These mid maps are for you. If you don't have a lot of tier 15s, you can juice them as well. It doesn't really matter. This is the first method. The second method uses an omen called Omen of Sinistral Alchemy. Omens of Sinistral Alchemy ensures that the waystone or anything that you use it on has the maximum number of prefixes. Prefixes specifically on waystones are good, and you generally want them. Suffixes make the map harder but add waystone drop chance. So you just want the prefixes. This is the best way, and you can only do this on normal tier 15s, by the way. I just like stacking up my normal tier 15s and then just using a bunch of Sinistral Alchemies. So you just highlight them in your inventory by right clicking, and then you use Orb of Alchemies on your waystones. As you can see, after using the Orb of Alchemy, it disappears from my inventory. Now this makes sure that my prefixes are maxed out, and it does add suffixes as well. So just make sure there's no bad suffixes. And with these, you don't actually need to exalt slam, because exalt slamming will add a suffix. So I just generally like to keep these with extra revives because I don't need to exalt slam them. As you can see, this one has gold. I just chuck this in my gold tab. And this one has 50% number of rare monsters, so I can keep this in my juice tab. So after doing this, I then grab a number of my juiced maps, and then we're going to get into the second part of juicing your maps. The second part of juicing your maps includes distilled emotions. Distilled emotions, there are only 3 specific distilled emotions that you would use when juicing your waystones. The others, in my opinion, aren't really good with juicing your maps. You can look through them. Personally, I just don't like running them. So the best ones are guilt, paranoia, and isolation. Isolation is very expensive. If you have the currency for it and the build for it, I recommend doing it, because doing distilled emotions on your waystones makes the map really hard, because it adds something called delirious, and delirious makes the map harder but increases the drop for really good items. It's generally good to have a lot of Delirious on your maps, but it does make the map harder, so you need a build that can handle this, right? If you can't handle Distilled Emotions, you can run the maps exactly like how they are right now. So I'm gonna go over what the Distilled Emotions do and what I personally like to run. So I'm just gonna grab 2 more of the where are they? Paranoia. So they're around 2 exalt each. That's fine. Okay, so to juice a map with Distilled Emotions, you need 3 of a specific Distilled Emotion. You can mix and match them. I just don't personally mix and match them, but you can if it's your decision at the end of the day. Distilled Guilt adds pack size to your map, increased pack size, and it makes it 27% Delirious. So it makes the map harder and it adds pack size. Pack size is generally good because increased pack size means more monsters. I don't run this specifically, but it is cheaper than the next Distilled Emotion. So if you are poor but you want to run a Distilled Emotion, use Guilt. The next one I like doing is Distilled Paranoia. This is more expensive than the Distilled Guilt, but in my opinion is the best one price wise. So this adds increased number of rare monsters, and as I explained before, an increased number of rare monsters is really good. So increasing the number of rare monsters in general is what you want. With the Distilled Emotions, I then instill them. As you can see here, the map now has increased number of rare monsters, and players in the area are 36% Delirious. So this map is pretty hard to do. If you have the build for it, it's really good. As you saw from the gameplay earlier, it makes a really big difference in the amount of drops in the maps, and in the gameplay shown, the towers aren't even juiced. So if you compare from a normal tier 15 Waystone and a juiced tier 15 Waystone, without the towers being juiced, you can see a very big difference in the amount of loot that is dropped. And I specifically have a very strict loot filter, and you can see the amount of items that the loot filter is showing as valuable, and you can see that there is a lot dropping. So this is pretty much what I like to run, and the finished product of juicing my maps. So you can run the maps as is. So after juicing the maps with them, I like then putting them in my juiced stash tab. So after juicing the maps here, I like to keep these here and I just run them. I run these maps. Very, very good now. Very good to run. After juicing the maps, there is an optional way to juice them even further. Juicing them even further, this is optional, but I do not recommend doing this because there is an option of bricking your map when you do this. So you can corrupt the map to actually hopefully try and hit a T16. Unfortunately, doing this, you can brick the modifiers on the Waystone, and if they do end up changing to worse modifiers and the good modifiers are gone. So I don't personally like doing this. I like keeping them how they are and running them. But if you're risky and you have a lot of T15s, you can just do this. You can just vial them, try to hit the T16. So that's how you juice your Waystones. And now we're going to get into actually juicing your towers and knowing what area on the map to look for. So specifically what you're looking for on your atlas is 3 tower locations or crossovers. So you need 3 towers in the vicinity of each other, because you want this small area in the middle of them to be triple buffed. And these triple buffed areas are really, really good, because the precursors, I'm going to show you what to put into the towers, are what's going to make this really good. So how do you get 3 precursor tablets on 1 tower? So specifically what you need is a Waystone with 0 revives. So to get these precursor tablets with 0 revives, as you probably noticed earlier, all you need to do is to use an exalted orb on a map, and this can be mid map. You can see now it has 1 revive, and if I use the exalted orb, 0 revives. It adds a modifier to it, but then decreases the revives to 0. So what you want to do is you run this map in the Precursor Tower, and it will allow you, if you complete it, to put 3 Precursor Tablets into the map. As shown at the start of the video, you need those specific precursors. The one specifically that I would really highly recommend buying if you're in the trade league or keeping is the Visions of Paradise Precursor Tablet. Visions of Paradise Precursor Tablet is insane and allows any map with irradiation on it to be done again. So as you can see, irradiated just means that it adds +1 to the monster level, and any tower within the vicinity of the Visions of Paradise doing the map will remove the irradiation but allow you to complete the map again. After completing the map, it will then highlight and you're able to do the map again, put another waystone in and go to the certain area again, which is insane, by the way. So essentially you're doubling the maps in the center here. As you can see, there's 11 maps here in the vicinity of these 3 that are buffed, and now essentially I pretty much have 22 maps. This area is now a 22 map area that is triple buffed, and with the juiced waystones added onto that, you're going to see a very big difference in the amount of loot that is dropped in your maps. So anyways, that's how you juice your towers and what to look for specifically on your atlas. The specific precursors that you want on your towers, I'll have them up on screen right now. You want 1 Visions of Paradise Precursor Unique Tablet. You want 3 Breach, specifically 6 to 7% quantity on them, preferably 7%. They are pretty expensive but are worth it. Then you want 3 Expedition or 3 Ritual, whichever one you prefer. If you like Ritual, do Ritual. If you like Expedition, do Expedition. All 3 of those have to have also 7% quantity of them. The second modifiers on the precursors you don't need to worry about. They can be anything as long as they have the 7% quantity of them. So again, 3 precursors with 7% quant that are Breach, and then 3 precursors with either Ritual or Expedition that have 7% quant. And then once you have 3 of each, then you want 2 irradiated Precursor Tablets with also 7% quant as well. Now you don't want 3 of them because you are using a Visions of Paradise, so just having 3 of each, and then you can max out your quantity excluding the Visions of Paradise at a 56%. So that's what you want. You want quantity on your Precursor Tablets so that when you enter the map, it doubles. It has a chance to double, and hopefully it doubles, and then you can pretty much get like 112% increased quant, which is absolutely insane. So then you actually don't even need to specifically look for quant on your waystones. You can just literally run rarity of items, and that's what I look for specifically when I'm running the waystones anyways. If you enjoyed this video, again, like and sub. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.